Hi guys, thank you for clicking on my very first YouTube video. I am going to be posting bookish content on here as well as some other things, but mostly books. I could talk about books all day, absolutely love reading and watching book related content, so I thought I would also join in. I thought today that I would start with the Newbie booktuber tag, which I've seen a couple of other creators do here on YouTube. So I've got the questions on my phone and I will go through them. Okay, so question one is, why did you start this channel? I have been on BookTok for a long time, Booktube for a long time, more so getting into it recently. I've discovered a lot of creators quite recently. I have never before had the confidence to do something like this. It is something that is so far out of my comfort zone that I still can't quite believe I am actually doing it. I turned 30 in January and I promised myself that my 30s would be the decade that I just do stuff for me and do things I'm scared of. And I recently got married and I've got a toddler, and so it's really important that I have something that keeps me focused on my own goals and makes me happy. So I recently started a book talk, which I will link down below in the description if you wanted to go and have a look at that. And I just thought as well a book YouTube channel or a YouTube channel in general would be something I would quite like to do. I also last year launched a Etsy business for decorative and functional planning, so I thought YouTube would also be a good way of incorporating that part of my life and maybe reaching out to some people that would be interested in ordering as I try and grow that business. But the main focus will be books because I could talk about books all day, and I do talk about books all day. Question two, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I'm not sure about unique because I will be doing a lot of the same videos that I've seen other people doing. Hopefully just another fun, relatable person you can watch, whether that's when you cozy up with a cup of tea or whilst you're working and you've just got me on in the background. I'm just hoping that I'll be someone that people will enjoy watching. Question number three, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I am excited about bringing books into my everyday life and how I go about like being part of what I do and a hobby. I'm excited about meeting new people to talk about books with, getting new recommendations. And if some opportunities came my way, then that wouldn't be a bad thing, but primarily that's not what I'm doing it for. I can't imagine that I'd ever blow up to get to that point, but it would be nice if my hobby could become something a little bit more than a hobby. I'm not going to pretend that that's not true. I do currently work part-time, so maybe in the future it could be something I do more. But yeah. Question number four, why do you love reading? So I have always loved reading. I read a lot during my childhood, during my teenage years. I can read multiple books at the same time, which is something that a lot of people maybe don't understand. It's always been a form of escape for me. I had some tricky things during childhood, like a lot of people do, and reading was a really good way of coping with things. I then lost touch with reading probably for a good 10 years, I would say. I'd have like the odd book here and there, but nothing I could really stick to, and I definitely would not have classed myself as a reader. Back in the pandemic, like a lot of people, had not a lot to do, so I picked up a book again. The book I picked up was Where the Crawdads Sing. Obviously that was a massive book a few years ago, and that really reignited my love of reading, and I've been consistently reading ever since. And again, it has just become a form of escape. My life's not, I haven't got the difficulties in the same way that I did during childhood, but I I'm a busy mum. I have a house that I look after. I work part-time. I have my husband and we obviously have our relationship, and it is something that I can just switch off, and it's really personal. It's just me and a book. And it's also allowed me to explore other worlds. From reading books, I learn about other books. I've met people with the same hobbies as me. There's communities where you can just talk about books, and it's one of those things where you're never going to run out of books to read. There's always going to be something new to discover, and I just absolutely love that. 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? So I can't really remember when I was a child. Like I said, I read a lot as a child. Um, Harry Potter was obviously a big thing. All of the Enid Blyton books, especially Famous Five. I absolutely loved Jodie Pico. As a teenager, probably reading a lot of books I maybe shouldn't have, but she had a lot of important topics and I learnt a lot. But what got me back into reading, like I said, was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I don't know where my copy of it is. I lent it out. I think I got it back and now I've just put it somewhere and I don't know where. Read that in a couple of days, which was probably the first time in a good few years that I'd even finished a book, let alone binged a book. And since then, I've absolutely loved getting into fantasy. So the first fantasy series I read was the Cruel Prince trilogy, and I absolutely adore that. I've probably read quite a few fantasy series or books now that are better than that, but that will always be special to me. And yeah, so Where the Crawdads Sing got me back into reading in general. Cruel Prince got me into fantasy. I've since then read ACOTAR. Currently reading, I don't know if you can see it there, I'm on Queen of Shadows from Thread of Glass. I read Fourth Wing this year. I absolutely love romance. This is my TBR behind me, so you can see on this side there are the fantasy books, and then all of like the romance sort of go this way to like more general. So yeah. Question 6. What questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? So a lot of the answers to questions I would ask them I could probably find in videos, but it would be things like, what books got you into reading? What are your favourite books of all time? Favourite authors? How do you remain consistent with your uploads and coming up with these new ideas that other people then use? Yeah, just very general things, nothing too deep. Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube challenge will be the hardest to overcome? So like I said at the start of this video, I didn't ever think I'd have the confidence to do this. That's definitely going to be something that will be ongoing. I definitely, just because I've done this first video, doesn't mean I'm going to find all the videos that I hopefully do after this easy. Even just sitting here now, I'm questioning everything that I'm doing. And I honestly hope that this video sees the light of day. I think trying to stay consistent with uploading and just coming up with the video ideas. It would be nice to come up with a couple of my own. Like I said, a lot of what I'll be doing will be stuff that you've already seen. But yeah, hopefully the confidence will come in time. The skills will come in time. I've got absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I've somehow got to edit this in a little while. I've probably got to get some better equipment, but with what I've got for now, I'm just going to do my best. Question number 8, when did you start reading? So I've pretty much already covered this, but when I was a child, like a small child, like probably from primary school, start of primary school, there are definitely pictures of me as a 5-6-year-old reading a book in the car or holding a book when I've fallen asleep in bed or whatever. So I have been reading for as long as I can remember, but then I did have that gap, so I definitely can't claim that I've been reading my whole life. Question 9, where do you read? So a lot of the time I read in bed, read before bed. That's a lot of the time, that's most of the time where I get the time to read. I like to read on my Kindle when I'm in bed because I can lay down. What I've been trying to do, especially the last probably couple of years since I had my son, is swapping TV time for reading. So when I was on maternity leave with him, rather than just sitting and watching something when I was breastfeeding or whatever, I'd try and read. So on the sofa, um, and in the lounge in the evening, if my husband is watching football, he's a big football fan, so I get some time then. Or if he's watching a show that I don't want to watch, so he likes the action, gruesome stuff that I can't I can't deal with that sort of stuff. So I'll read whilst he's watching something. So in bed, on the sofa, or in the car if we're on a long journey. I know a lot of people can't really read in the car, but it's never been an issue for me. So yeah, but mostly at bedtime in bed with my Kindle. Number 10, the last question. What kind of books do you like to read? So my biggest two genres are romance and fantasy, especially. I definitely prefer the more romancy than I need the romance to sort of get me through. Though I do want to start venturing into some more high fantasy. I've got Brandon Sanderson there, which I've never read. I also like historical fiction, particularly around the war or the Tudors or like the Victorian times. I'm not a thriller girl. They just make me too anxious. Definitely not a horror. Definitely not a horror. And I do like some murder mystery. So I've got, don't know if you can see the Thursday Murder Club books, but that's about the limit. And I mainly read them because they're quite light-hearted, they're funny, and they're quite good palate cleansers. So that was all 10 questions on the Booktube newbie tag. So hopefully that has given you a little bit of information about me, let you get to know me a little bit and what my channel is likely to be about. So hopefully you stick around and a few of you maybe even subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.